Megavan and friends, welcome to another episode of the Lord of the Wrongs podcast, the only Tolkien podcast the professor himself would dismiss as juvenile and crass. My name is Dan Zerby, and I'm here with my great friend. He's a hell of a guy, and co-host Sean Kelly. Yeah, I love you, man. And together we'll be discussing the writings, news, adaptations, games, all the fun stuff regarding J.R.R. Tolkien's Legendarium in a way that he would not approve of. And this is our first episode after our Hobbit Day special, which you'll be listening to this well after that one. But it was a smash success. We're just going to say that now.
Wow, called shot.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, let's not set ourselves up too much for failure here, Zerb.
Yeah.
But
well, it was a qualified success.
No, it was a lot of fun. But
it was fun.
We've already been back to our usual program. Once again, a return to form.
Yeah, as much it's sloppy form, but it's a return to our form.
Yeah, we're doggy paddling out here.
Yeah, that's right.
Speaking of splashing around and struggling in the water, Zerb, I believe we have to shamefully sort of wallow and attempt to wade our way over to Correction Corner here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, as per usual, you gotta
tread water next to the filter. It's in the shallow end because we can't. One of our floaties popped.
Yeah, I'm holding on to the side like I'm Spider-Man, but it's just because I'm scared. So anyway, Correction Corner. Yeah, everyone's favorite segment. Our last episode, my Tolkien fun fact was that Tolkien's original idea for the elves was that they were toy makers, that they also were made. I mean, they do live in trees, but they don't make cookies and live in trees or Rice Krispies. That was I just got confused. I was confusing Tolkien's elves with every other popular depiction of elves.
Yeah, from what I remember, he sort of made a point to divert the image of elves away from that previous
from that everything.
He sort of a rebrand, if you will.
Yeah, although I will say, while elves were not particularly toy makers, you could argue that Lembas is kind of it's a snack. So that one wasn't as far off as some of the other ones.
Yeah, maybe Lembas was just like those Keebler vanilla sandwich cookies.
I mean, it could be. It doesn't specifically say that they don't have a sugary filling.
Yeah, well.
Thank you for your support there, Sean.
Yes, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, it could be. You could have been partially sort of not wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, let's
move on.
Let's move on. What's our topic today, Sean?
We're talking about the music.
Yeah, and not just
in general.
Not just of the Ainur, although we will mention it. Yeah, just the music of Tolkien in the adaptations, in the actual writings itself. Even though obviously, there's no music accompanied by the songs he wrote the lyrics for.
But lyrics written down are still sort of music.
It's music.
Music waiting to be played.
And we're also going to be looking at Tolkien's influence in popular music as well today.
How exciting, sir.
It's so exciting. Dear listeners, you are in for such a treat. Oh, you lucky motherfuckers.
And once again, a called shot. Let's get into it with, let's just talk about the movies. John.
Yeah, that works out since, like I said earlier, we're coming right off of our Hobbit Day special and recording and everything. And for my Hobbit Day, I watched all of the extended Lord of the Rings. Although except for the last 40 minutes of Return of the King, because it was like 9:30 at night. I was like, okay, 40 minutes left. That's great. That works out pretty good. I got it all done. And then we had a minor plumbing emergency that my girlfriend and I had to fix. Or our filtered water went out. But just listen to the music in the movies.
Best part of Hobbit day, I would say.
Yeah, it was all the unexpected plumbing adventures. Um, but
So, well,
yeah,
I will
I just listened
say
to it. So
about the movies, uh, eh, you know.
Jesus, no, you don't.
No,
You're a dirty
I
liar.
love that music.
It's yeah. I mean, Howard Shore is, for those of you who don't know, he's the composer for the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit films, and
And
you know,
the opening credits song for
yes, for Rings of Power. Yeah,
Rings of
that's
Power.
right. He does do the
Yeah.
theme song for Rings of Power. And he's brilliant. I mean, he is. I mean, the amount of times that the Lord of the Rings movies will always make me cry. The amount of times I cried watching them on was
Yeah, they're gonna think we're
arguably
stabs,
embarrassing.
but yeah, I mean, yeah, no,
And the music
it's
is
moving.
yeah, I mean, the music is such a huge part of what makes the Lord of the Rings movies in particular so great. Yeah,
I would say it's pretty crazy because there's a lot of movies and stuff where the music takes a back seat, you know,
yeah,
but it feels almost like a major part of the viewing experience, and it's much more
yeah,
distinctive than in a lot of
yeah.
other movies and shows and stuff.
Definitely. I mean, I can't think of another composer besides Howard Shore, and especially what he did for Lord of the Rings, that's like on par with, say like John Williams has so many incredible themes that pretty much anybody can hum or whistle. And
Yeah,
Howard Shore accomplished that
Zimmer,
level of
Williams.
greatness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was incredible work.
I mean, just the concerning hobbits track alone, like that's something that I listen to all the time. It just makes me happy listening to it. It makes me imagine that I'm in the Shire if I'm looking out in my backyard.
Yeah, I mean, we should
it's awesome.
mention how well. So there are a few themes basically throughout the movies. There's like the Shire theme. There's a fellowship theme.
The fellowship theme, which is badass. Yeah, so great. Yeah.
There's like an evil theme, which is like the
Yeah.
bum 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 bum.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
If we can't do any more than that, we'll probably get sued.
But they just all, and the way he intertwines especially the Shire theme to have these moments of like home, like them remembering home or having like a hobbity sort of moment. It just accents something like a theme that's a couple of themes that are really important in the book, and the fellowship, which you're not hearing as much because the fellowship only lasts for the first movie, really,
right? Yeah,
but there are still moments where it comes back, and I mean, it was masterful work.
Yeah, I mean the music itself is great, like the motifs and the way he weaves them all together. It's great. Did he win an Oscar for that? Like, of all the Oscars that the Lord of the Rings films won, did the music win any?
Well, you look that up while I
will
say something that might be somewhat controversial. I didn't love the music from Rings of Power. I mean, I thought it was good, but like I was saying before, it took a back seat to me. Like that, there was nothing.
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
It wasn't nearly as distinctive. I can't remember a single theme, and honestly, even the Howard Shore intro song. Every time I try to think of it, I just think of the theme for Westworld, which is just a much more distinctive.
It is actually does sound a little like it does remind me of the theme for Westworld. You're right.
Yeah, and then when I try to remember it, I just think of that, which is it's a great first season. Certainly, it was worth watching for anybody who hasn't seen it. Yeah,
agreed. By the way, so in terms of awards Howard Shore has won, Yeah, he won Oscars.
Okay, that's. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not surprised, but I am glad to hear it.
he won Academy Award for Best Music for The Return of the King. He won a Golden Globe for The Return of the King and The Aviator. He
I don't even
ran
know what. Isn't that Jin?
what? The
Isn't the
Aviator?
Aviator Jin or something?
It is there is a mixed drink with gin in it called an Aviator. That's true, but I meant the
Oh no,
Martin
I'm thinking of
Scorsese movie.
Aviation, which is Ryan Reynolds' Jin.
There
uh,
is also a mixed drink called the Aviator that I believe
yes,
Jin was in,
I've
but
heard of
yeah,
that as well. And
yeah, he won. Martin Shore, Howard Shore won Golden Globes. He won a Grammy for he's won plenty of awards
like
for
I
what he
said,
did
not
for Lord of the Rings
surprised.
and the Aviator. Yeah,
And you know what? He has our recognition. He
indeed.
won a I mean, what's our award, Serb? Do we have an award?
Uh, a wrongy,
I was just thinking the same thing, and I feel like that's
stupid.
yeah, it's pretty dumb. So I mean,
It's
it
pretty
works
dumb.
for now, but I
I
might I
mean, it
might
was right
workshop
off the
that.
top of my head. We didn't think of that. Yeah, maybe
That's
that'll.
shocking, I know.
Yeah, maybe we'll do an awards episode for like the end of of our first season or something like that.
Yeah, I'll
We'll
try and come up with another
yeah,
name that I thought of the same
less
thing. So
yeah, something a little less stupid, or maybe we'll just keep the really stupid ideas.
it could be.
Keeping stupid ideas is kind of on brand for us. So
Yeah, I'd say
yeah,
so.
yeah.
But I mean, all that, all the way we were talking so well about Howard Shore, that was all a lie. I think he needs to be replaced.
Yeah, you know what? We could do better. Jesus, no. Yes, no, we could do better. I'm sticking to the bit. I'm committing.
I call for, or I declare misconduct.
Oh, jeez. Is it because of those tweets I put out?
No, not upon you, sir,
Oh, okay,
but
good.
I've
I don't have
called
Twitter. It's
this
fine.
misconduct upon Howard Shore, or I mean, I assume he conducted, but we need somebody else to make the music. It just
Yeah.
wasn't really up to our standards.
Yeah. So, do you have a short list ready to go for this, Sean? I mean, do you have any ideas of who would be able to do this?
Yeah, we got a couple fellas on the line.
Yeah, I got a couple ideas.
On the hook here, and we can just we can have them go through some sort of like elimination style conduction test to the death question mark. I mean, first I got John Philip Sousa.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. I was gonna ask you before we started this bit, do we have access, like does the Madame Tussauds personality and brain matrix, like does that include dead composers?
No, I mean, well, I don't think. Oh boy, I don't know when Tussauds was founded, but I doubt it was in the like around 1900. So
Yeah, probably not likely. Yeah.
I think it would be more of a
Don't have the
like
technology yet.
it would be like a march opera situation where they just use his music.
I mean, there are plenty of scenes where there's marching happening, and
yeah, that's what
if
I'm
there's
thinking.
one thing Sousa did very well, it was invent Trump tubas that you could carry.
Yes, the wearable tuba.
The wearable tuba. Also known
we
as
all
the
thank him for
sousaphone,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And also marching songs. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that the story would certainly move along in pretty good shape.
Yeah, you can do a pretty solid pace. Yeah.
Do you have anybody?
Yeah, I had one idea. I feel like this person would do a better job for composing a new Hobbit film in particular. Danny Elfman.
Yeah,
I think would do it. His style is that kind of like, there's a whimsical aspect
more
to
lighthearted,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, tends to be a little more lighthearted. Even like the music he did for Sleepy Hollow, still to me has like kind of a funness to it, I guess.
Yeah. That's a
There's a
pretty real
lightness
answer.
to it. Yeah. Well, I have a funnier answer, but like, do you have another one? Do you
Yeah,
want to
I
go?
did like he has a song from that movie Wanted. Do you remember that with like Angelina Jolie?
Oh
The
God,
like
yeah, I remember
assassin
that
movie.
Yeah, where they curve bullets and shit. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
don't know
remember
why I
that.
remember that soundtrack so well, but
Did he do
yeah,
that soundtrack?
yeah, I think he did.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was a good
Obviously, that
movie
one didn't make
actually.
much of an impression on me.
No, probably not.
Um, his work in Men in Black, though, was top notch, as well
All
as
right. Anyway,
the Simpsons theme.
let's get Garth Brooks on the line here.
Should it be Garth Brooks or Chris Gaines, though?
You know, I'll be honest, I don't know either of their music at all. I am not a
Well,
country fan.
well, Chris Gaines is Garth Brooks's weird, like slightly gothy alter ego.
Wait, it's him also?
Yes, it's fucking Garth Brooks in a wig.
Wait, like actually, or
Dead serious, 100%.
oh wow, I didn't even
I
know
love that
that.
you don't know this. Yeah, yeah. Garth Brooks had a like an alter ego that was a little darker and had like this
Oh
emo
my
black wig on, and he went by Chris Gaines. It was really weird. I think it was
yeah,
because of his like Kiss fascination that he did something like that. But yeah,
that's so
bizarre.
strange. Yeah, I like listened to one Garth Brooks song just so I could like be sure of who he was, and I don't think it needed to be darker. It was just kind of like depressing and twangy.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Garth Brooks. He's one of the best-selling artists of all time, which is still
Yeah.
shocking because I don't think I can name a single song that he's ever done.
The Dance, which I
Right over my
only
head,
because I
man.
just listened to it, but there's
Yeah,
a whole wide world who is there to listen to Garth Brooks albums, so you don't have to, Zerby.
there is. Yeah, that's fine with me.
So
That's
who
all
else
right.
you got?
I really love my idea for Trent Reznor to write some broody shit for this movie. Actually, you know what? A team of Danny Elfman and Trent Reznor could cover both the dark and light sides of the soundtrack.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're both in bands. They're both excellent, incredible composers, and they have different styles that I feel like might work together to create a brand new soundtrack for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, sorry, I'm desperately trying to. I was trying to desperately think of like a 9-inch nails pun, but it was just like my fingertips were on it, and I just plummeted to the earth, and it's gone. I don't know, but
yeah.
No, I
mean, Elfman, Danny Elfman. His Elf is right in.
Yeah,
his
Elf
name.
is right there. The nine.
You couldn't think of an Oingo Boingo pun though. Danny Elfman was in the '80s new wave band Oingo Boingo. For those of you who don't know, I feel like that's not a very common.
I didn't know,
fact.
and that's for some reason I have heard that name before, but that's I mean that's pretty.
Yeah, Oingo Boingo. They had some hits in the '80s. Yeah.
So it shall be 9-inch nails for the 9 riders. All right. Anyway, I got 2 more.
Cool, because that was the end of my.
Yeah,
I only thought
one of them is actually I think would do a pretty good job is Frank Zappa.
Oh yeah. Oh, that would be a fun, like weird, like borderline.
I feel like he
psychedelic.
Could probably have more fun with like The Hobbit, but either way.
Yeah, I would actually. I'm imagining him writing like the music for the Goblin song when they initially capture the dwarves in the Misty Mountains.
Oh yeah,
I feel like
didn't really get.
Yeah, we didn't get that in the.
I think he's one of those picks where you'd be like, oh, that's ridiculous, and then he'd actually do like a great job.
Right. Yeah, it's silly until you actually hear it. It's like, oh shit, actually this is great. Yeah.
And then lastly, Randy Newman.
Oh yeah. I mean, Randy Newman's the dude. The guy's like the king of writing hit songs for soundtracks.
Yeah. I mean, short people got no reason to live. So I think I think his ending, they would have just all kind of jumped in the crack of doom together.
Yeah. You've got 9 friends in me. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
although that sounds
that would
dirty,
be bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be,
I don't even want to sing a single bar of that because I feel like Disney would be on us in a
no,
heartbeat.
I don't. I just want to retract immediately before, like, just to end the bit. I
Yeah.
don't want to replace Howard Shore.
Howard Shore. No, Howard Shore did great. Yeah.
Certainly not with like Randy Newman or Trent Reznor.
Yeah.
But good picks.
Yeah. You too, man.
Thanks. So, do you want to talk
Moving
about
on.
moving on. Do you want to talk about the music in the books a little bit?
Yeah, so obviously, like we said, there's songs, I guess, in the books. We don't have so much music except for, obviously, music created everything.
Well, we have a lot of music referenced, but
so
and
much
like
music, yeah.
songs written, but it's a book. It's kind of hard to,
Right, yeah. So you got to come up with your own like actual music in your head, I guess. But music, it just plays such an important role in Tolkien's world. Besides, like I just mentioned, the Ainur singing the universe into existence.
Yeah, the creation myth is based on music.
It's music, yeah. It's a great symphony. It's Eru's our conductor, and
It's
the
like the
Ainur
big
are
banger,
musicians.
Yeah.
Obviously, the song that created the universe is a fucking banger for sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. He would have been probably the best conductor to get for the movies, but he was
he's busy though. Yeah.
But and then I mean the elves sing like constantly
all the time.
You hear about elves, you're basically hearing about them singing because they just
our
part
first
of the joy and sorrow, really.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's that it's so interesting because I remember there's a great book about the Hobbit. I think I've mentioned it before. It's by the Tolkien professor Corey Olson. It's called Exploring J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. And it's essentially a book report. But he makes a really interesting point because like the first time we see the elves in Tolkien's work is in The Hobbit. And as the dwarves are making their way to Rivendell, you have the elves they're the the Tralalalali elves. Tralalalali down in the valley. That sort of thing.
There's, for people who haven't read The Hobbit, which you should, it's pretty short. And,
you should. It's an easy read, and it's my favorite book,
great.
and it's great. There's a reason it's one of the most popular books of the 20th century.
But the song they're singing when they get there is frivolous and ridiculous.
It is absolutely, and but Corey Olson mentions like the fact like a lot of people are like, oh, this doesn't jive with the version of elves that we see, and he makes the argument that it really does, because the fact that elves are effectively immortal, they find great sorrow in lots of things, and therefore they're also able to see like the great joys in things and in the everyday. So it makes sense that they would be lighthearted and kind of silly. They're also serious. It's not like yeah, they can still be badasses and they can still be grim.
Seriously, but it's also like they, especially in The Hobbit, they make fun of mortals a lot.
Oh yeah, they love making fun of
them.
The dwarves in particular. Yeah,
yeah.
Thorin's just trying to get a drink of water, and they're like, "Don't dip your beard in the foam, father. It's long enough without watering."
Yeah, The Hobbit has certainly a lot more lighthearted songs, but I would say more songs, per chapter, I guess.
Yeah, there are a lot of songs in The Hobbit. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for its length compared to Lord of the Rings, but I mean there are a number of songs in both, and I know I skipped the poetry and songs especially if they were long when I was younger, but I'm glad.
Yeah, my first couple readings of not so much The Hobbit because the songs were much shorter, but in Lord of the Rings for sure. I mean, you have in the scene at Weathertop before they're attacked by the Nazgul. Aragorn is. It's not so much a song, I guess. It's like the Lay of Lathian.
It's an epic poem, really.
It's an epic poem. Yeah, it's a chant though. It has a rhythm to it, and it's even though it's in a book, like there's a lot. It's a chant. It's very there's a lot of musicality in the language that's used, which is something that Tolkien was just brilliant at.
Yeah,
fantastic.
We should kick the ring down the river for poetry as well. But
yeah,
I mean, do you want to talk about what your favorite song was?
Oh yeah,
books.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge, like I said before, The Hobbit is my favorite book. So my favorite songs are actually from The Hobbit. But there's also some Lord of the Rings crossover. So the first song in The Hobbit, that's what Bilbo Baggins hates. The dwarves just singing and teasing him as they're cleaning up and saying they're going to do all these terrible things that they didn't do. I just love it. It's it's such a great tone for the beginning of that book.
And I really love it in the movie too.
I was going to say, yeah, I really did love how they did that scene in the movie. I thought it was wonderful.
Wish they'd stuck with that throughout, but no, that is it's a great way to set the tone for the book. And it's one of those things you can imagine like reading out loud to your kid or something. It would just be like a lot of fun.
I am so excited to read The Hobbit to my niece and nephew when they're just a little bit older. They're very young, so I mean, my nephew's not even a year old. But I'm like, I cannot wait to read that to them.
You're just like, just grow up faster. Let me.
I've already bought. One of the first things I bought when my niece was born was a copy of The Hobbit to give to her. So,
you're just like waiting to indoctrinate them.
yeah, exactly. Definitely what I'm doing. Well, total sidetrack, but apparently, like when that first happened, my brother-in-law started like kind of reading it to her, like just not actually reading. She's like too young to pay attention, but she started saying like Hobbit. And Frodo. No. She wouldn't say Bilbo. She would say Frodo, which is very funny too. And I'm like, oh my god, I love this kid. This is awesome. It's working. I'm going to make her a social outcast, but I'm going to create a new Tolkien friend. Anyway,
well, being a nerd is in these days, so
that's true.
She'll be fine.
Yeah, but so. Yeah, my favorite song in the books is Bilbo's walking song, or "The Road Goes Ever On."
Yeah, there are a few variations on that throughout the books. No.
Yeah, so in The Hobbit, it's the last chapter as he sees as his home in the distance is when he sings the first version of that, and then there are three versions of that walking song in Lord of the Rings. The first is sung by Bilbo when he leaves the Shire to go to Rivendell. The second is sung spoken, really, actually. He doesn't. It specifically says that Frodo speaks. By Frodo on their way to Crick Hollow. And the only difference between that song and the first time it's sung by Bilbo in Lord of the Rings is instead of pursuing it with eager feet, Frodo sings pursuing it with weary feet, which for as small of a change that is, it really does show the difference between Frodo and Bilbo's adventures. Yeah. Bilbo's was fun and Frodo's was traumatizing, gave him PTSD, using chronic pain until he went to Valinor.
Yeah.
And the third version is spoken by Bilbo in Rivendell at the end of The Lord of the Rings. As he's a sleepy old hobbit, he falls asleep singing his own song. Which
and it's
kind of a flex, honestly, right?
Yeah.
You just had a horrible adventure where you saved the world. Good job. Also, it's going to fall asleep singing my own little happy song.
I like also how it's another good spot of the sort of frame narrative thing where like it's all from Bilbo's book, because the other hobbits know the song because
they do,
like from Bilbo in his book. And
it's in the Red Book of Westmarch. That's what the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings and the Silmarillion is.
Because I believe the other hobbits like reference his song at least once or twice.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's a good pick. I mean, it's catchy. And is that no, I'm trying to think. There's a distinctive line from at least one of those, isn't there? That like everybody quotes, or is that just from?
That might you might be
prophecy.
I think it's from the poem that Bilbo wrote for Aragorn, not all those wander are lost. So that line that people
Yeah,
like, even if
I
they
need
don't
to
have
look
any
into that
idea
one.
what it's from. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I picked a pretty different vibe.
Ooh, yeah. Do tell.
Yeah, there's so when the Fellowship has gone through Moria and they're at the when they get past there's like a reflecting pool and stuff, and they've gone to the edge of Lothlorien.
Yeah.
They reach the Falls of Nimrodel.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say
And
Nimrodel. Yeah. Good
yeah, and
choice.
Legolas sings this beautiful lay of Nimrodel, who she was basically an elf who I believe she was like waiting for her husband who went out to sea. Was she married to a man? Oh man, I should
Uh,
have I should have I should
I mean,
remember the actual.
it's your pick of the
Yeah,
song.
okay, sorry.
No,
No,
hold on. I just
it's
opened up to the Lothlorien
yeah,
chapter.
yeah.
Let's see if I
You
can
look at
find it.
that, but basically it's like a sorrowful, bittersweet song that sort of encapsulates the elves' sorrow for the world and the their desire for the sea and just in general, and as like the place that they yearn to cross
Right.
in order to go to heaven effectively. And
Yeah.
it's just like a beautiful, I think it like Legolas doesn't have that
It
much
wasn't.
personality on his own, but
No, he doesn't.
it's one of those moments where he is like the elvish stand-in, and it really explains a lot of the way the elves feel in general.
Yeah. Nimrodel, by the way, was not with a man. It was an elven king. It was Amroth.
Oh, okay. So he
Yeah.
he I
Amroth
barely remember.
waited for her on a ship and she didn't come. Yeah. It's
And then
sad.
I think, did she cast herself into the sea, or is that another woman? There's a lot of sad
Um
stuff that happened in the Dol Amroth area.
yeah,
uh,
it's true.
yeah,
Uh
but yeah. So the falls are said to like be her, like you can hear the echoes of her like cries, basically. Sound like of her song.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so it's like it's a bummer,
It sure is.
but it's a
Yeah.
beautiful bummer.
It is a very beautiful it is a very beautiful piece.
But
Nice.
yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good place to transition
Yeah, I
to
was about to say, let's
a
lighten it
Mad
up a
Men
little
of the
bit.
West.
Hey, all right.
So
What do you have for us, Sean?
yeah, I was thinking we could get a little back to our roots with some good old fashioned product placement.
Yes.
What if
Oh yeah.
what if when the hobbits pulled into Rivendell, there were just some elves shredding in the background on a couple of Fender guitars. Huh?
Yeah, I think hmm,
And
you know,
amps. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of the right vibe. Honestly, I feel like guitars going into Marshall amplifiers is really more elvish.
This is
Yeah, highly in favor. Yeah.
I've brought a Guitar Center bit to a Guitar Center guy that like knows way more about it than I do.
I wouldn't say I'm a Guitar Center guy. I like going in there and messing with them because I usually know. I mean, I'm like Ron Swanson going into the home improvement store where the guy's like, "Can I help you?" And I just go, "I know, Bill. I know more than you."
Yeah, I mostly said that to annoy you a little bit. No,
I mean, I did used to work at a guitar shop. I've been playing guitar a very long time, so yeah,
yeah,
it's fair.
it's I think I was trying to think of like a sort of catchphrase. I thought don't fret, the light and rock and roll will prevail. Uh-huh.
I love it. I really, really love that. Actually, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like really epic until you like think about it for a second, and you're like, that's just so stupid.
I know. That's why I liked it so much.
It's like, whoa,
It's like
okay.
that's stupid enough to actually be like a rock song, especially from the '80s.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
that's
no,
that's a lyric Kiss would write or something. Yeah.
elves are definitely hair metal, I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're too pretty to not be hair metal.
Yeah, or glam rock kind of thing.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, oh
Just
yeah.
something
I'm
like
pretty sure that Elves' favorite band is Poison.
that. All right. Speaking of Poison.
They ain't looking for nothing but a good time.
Oh. Yeah,
That
I
dumb
mean, yeah,
Poison
I
song.
guess I guess that's their vibe. uh, yeah. So, do you want to just smoothly transition from Poison into other relevant popular bands?
Yeah. So there's a lot of when you're talking about Tolkien's influence in popular music, there's a lot to talk about. And the most intimidating thing to talk about, I would say, is like in particular the heavy metal thing, because there's so many bands that have Tolkien themes. And like there's a metal band called Gorgoroth.
Yeah,
That's right out
Amon
of Lord of the
Amarth,
Rings.
which
Yeah, I mean,
is that Mount Doom?
it might be. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
I'll look that up. But yeah,
Yeah.
there is a lot.
Yeah, so there's like a ton of like metal bands that unless you're into metal you likely wouldn't know, but there's a lot of popular stuff as well. For taking a heavy metal, Black Sabbath's The Wizard is about Gandalf.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there were so many,
Yeah.
get this, music nerds in metal, or
Yeah.
Tolkien
Well,
nerds in metal.
yeah, well, I mean, especially in that era, that's early Black Sabbath. So, they're contemporaries of Led Zeppelin that have several references to Tolkien. I think Ramble On's like the most Tolkien related one, even though, you have Misty Mountain Hop, but other than packing my bags for the Misty Mountains, there are no lyrics referring to anything in the Legendarium in that song. Ramble On's got a few, Gollum and the Nazgul, I think.
Amon Amarth is the Sindarin name for Mount Doom, by the way.
There you go. All right, yeah.
But
yeah, there's a ton.
Yeah, the metal, the world of metal is definitely. I mean, it's sort of like weightlifting now, where like you wouldn't think it, but they're just a bunch of nerds a lot of the time.
Oh yeah, that's like say metalheads. They can look scary, but they are really not.
Just a bunch
and I
of
say
like
that
sweetheart nerds a lot of the time.
Yeah. I mean, I for many years I didn't like anything that really wasn't hard rock or heavy metal. So, and I tell you, other than being like metal's the best music ever and nothing else is even good. Besides that hard line that a lot of metalheads take, they're really a sweet bunch.
Yeah, but I mean, you did.
There's also lots of non-metal.
Yeah, I was gonna say you showed me a couple other songs.
Yeah,
I mean,
obviously, prog rock is the nerdiest kind of rock.
I mean,
there's
that's hands down.
Yeah, it is. It is easily the nerdiest type of rock. And Rush has a song called Rivendell, which is, I would argue, probably of this playlist that I made, it's probably the second corniest one.
Behind
Leonard Nimoy's The Ballad of Bilbo Baggins. Is arguably,
yes.
I would say, is incredibly corny, and I love it. Listeners, if you have not listened to Leonard Nimoy's Ballad of Bilbo Baggins, do yourself a favor, hit pause on this podcast, go to YouTube or whatever, Spotify, wherever you're listening. Just listen. It's only 2.5 minutes, and it is a joy.
It's it's one of the, so like Rush, I think like that was, it was like corny to the point where I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
But then,
I haven't listened to Rush's Rivendell all the way through. I haven't been able to.
yeah, but then like Leonard Nimoy goes so far past that it
Oh
actually
man,
becomes enjoyable again.
it
You know?
is. It's again, and it's a short song as opposed to. I mean, Rivendell. I'm pretty sure is like
Like a full 5-6 minutes or something.
it's a 5 minute song. Yeah, so it's not short, but the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins half that length, way more enjoyable. I will
Yeah,
say.
I didn't like. You showed me that, and I'm like Leonard Nimoy. Like, and there has to be another one, but I'm
Spock,
also like,
yeah.
how
Nope, it's
many Leonard
Spock.
Nimoys are there? You know,
Only
it's Spock.
only one worth talking about on this podcast, and that is Mr. Spock himself. Yeah, yeah. Leonard Nimoy was a musician too. You know, he put out quite a bit of music over the years, actually. But
Yeah,
nothing topped the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins.
yeah.
Seriously, I mean, it's it's so goofy.
It's one of those. It's one of
so
those like
silly, and I love
cheesy.
it.
You know how like some cheesy movies are hard to watch because they take themselves
Yeah,
too seriously.
yeah,
That's like probably the Rush song for me. The
yeah,
Living on the Rush, but then some of them are just you got like a Tremors or a like
yeah,
any horror flick from the Sci-Fi Channel, and they're just
yeah.
that's your Ballad of Bilbo Baggins from
Yeah,
Leonard
it's
Nimoy.
late 1960s psychedelic folk nerd,
Nerd folk.
psychedelic folk. I don't know how
Yeah,
you describe it, but it is
truly genreable.
unparalleled. Oh yeah, unparalleled and ungenreable for sure. Yeah. It's a novelty song from the 60s effectively,
Yeah.
but yeah, guys, go listen to it. It's the shit. It's great. It really is.
Oh yeah, no, that's yeah. Music definitely plays a big part, I'd say,
Yeah.
overall, and you can see it influence it. It's just strange that just how much heavy metal.
Yeah, I mean
like,
it's so much heavy
in
metal,
the
which is funny
demographic.
because I mean it's least likely that Tolkien would have enjoyed that stuff. You know, like
Yeah.
it's like I just have a hard time imagining that he would have ever have a good time wearing corpse paint. You know,
Well,
it just
actually,
seems unlikely.
fun fact about J.R.R. Tolkien.
Ooh,
He did enjoy heavy metal. Yeah, he used to just sit there with the paper. He'd have his pipe just curling wisps of smoke coming up. His feet were kicked up on the ottoman, and he was just listening to Slayer on dialed up to 11 just every night. That's how
yeah,
he
Slayer,
relaxed.
huh? Slayer, huh? You didn't go with Black Sabbath, where their first album came out while Tolkien was alive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 1970. Or was it 1969 even?
No,
Oh,
yeah.
no,
Well,
Led Zeppelin's first
sorry,
album came
sorry.
out in 69.
Yeah,
Black Sabbath's self-titled record came out in 1970.
I
Tolkien could have heard it.
confused.
Maybe he loved it.
No, I confused that with Sabbath. Yeah,
Oh
sorry,
yeah,
I'm just bad with
Slayer,
heavy
Sabbath. Yeah, Slayer, Sabbath. Easy, easy mistakes, Mick.
Yeah, I've seen Sabbath in concert, and it's going to be pretty hard to confuse that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no. So hey, big metalhead. One of the first.
Yeah, he was a very early supporter of the efforts of one John Osborne, Anthony Iommi. I don't know what Geezer Butler's real first name is, so I can't keep going with this a little bit. But
I mean, I'd say Geezer Butler is sufficient on its own.
Yeah.
Oh,
there are a few more songs that you could mention. There's a there's a lot of there's also songs that were influenced by Tolkien that really aren't that related. Like for example, there's a bluegrass song. The version I have is a band called Nickel Creek but I don't know if they did it first. But they have a song called "In the House of Tom Bombadil," which is a lot of fun to listen to. It's an instrumental. It's just like a bluegrass instrumental song, but it's kind of evocative of Tom Bombadil. It's lighthearted and fun to listen to. You'd imagine him dancing or singing to it, perhaps. Yeah.
I mean, he's got a bluegrassy house. Yeah.
Yeah, he does. Then you also have like Joni Mitchell has a song called Wilderland, which was specifically inspired by The Hobbit, even though there's no lyrics in it other than the word Wilderland that makes any reference to Tolkien.
Yeah, which is strange because she is Yavanna. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah, we did cast her as Yavanna. That's right. Although this next person really, like, she might be kind of the queen of making nerdy music, Enya. She has a song called Lothlorien, and of course she sings the final song in the Fellowship of the Ring.
yeah,
May it be is an Enya song. She contributed to the soundtrack. She loves
very
Tolkien.
elvish vibe. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. / nerdy vibe.
Yeah.
yeah.
I just never.
Enya's great though.
The only way I can ever remember Enya now is our English teacher in high school used to she would basically give us some writing assignment for the class, and she would just put Enya on.
Oh, that rules. That's awesome.
It was ridiculous.
It sounds ridiculous, but that's fantastic.
And she would just walk. She would just leave the room.
Wow. Yeah, none of my teachers did anything like that.
Yeah,
I don't remember getting a single creative writing assignment in school, actually, which is
kind
of a shame.
It wasn't creative.
That's too bad.
I did not like her.
Yeah, well, yeah. Then you're just being
Yeah.
forced to listen to Enya as a teenager, and that's not always.
Yeah, no,
not every teenager is going to be digging that vibe. Yeah.
No. Well, it was
I didn't have an appreciation for her at that point. That's true. Yeah.
But so one day somebody cranked the song up to full volume, and she came back, and I guess that was the end of that.
Cranking up the Enya to 11. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so fucking rad, dude.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah. All right, you got any more influences you can think of? I'm sure there are plenty of more. But
I'm sure there are more. There might be an obvious one. Oh, I do want to shout out one band because I don't want to dismiss them by calling them novelty. It's kind of novelty, but it rules. So it's another metal band, and it's called Windrose, and they do dwarf metal. They have a song called Dig Diggity Dig. And yeah, it's exactly that. It is dwarf metal.
I'm actually. You didn't tell me about this before. I need this.
Oh man, yeah. It's sorry. Diggy Diggy Hole is the name of that song.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Which is so much better.
You forgot that.
Well, I'm confusing it with like a South African ska band called Hog Hoggity Hog. That's what I confused it with. But yeah, I know.
Sorry.
The songs that
I can't believe you confused your dwarf metal for your South African ska.
Well, they're silly names that were similar.
Yes,
so,
silly names and sillier genres.
I'm going to read out a few of these song titles from Windrose because some of them are hilarious and some of them are just so blatantly Tolkien. So you Diggy Diggy Hole.
Okay, yeah.
Army of Stone tracks. Then you have Battle of the Five Armies, There and Back Again. They have Fellows of the Hammer.
Yeah.
The Art of War, Together We Rise. Like they're like drunken dwarves. Like these are dwarf metal bangers, guys. It's again, if you do enjoy heavy metal, or even if you don't, just give it a listen. It's very entertaining.
Yeah, I'm thinking now that maybe the dwarves are the ones with the strats, and that's when we first see the axes of the dwarves.
Yeah, or maybe they're all playing like Gene Simmons style axe basses.
Oh shit! There's definitely there's a Durin that had like a double neck guitar.
Yeah.
Man. Okay, that's enough.
Awesome.
Where can the people find us, sir?
The people can find us on, we are on Instagram. Our handle is Lord of the Wrongs Podcast. You can also send us an email at lordofthewrongspodcast@gmail.com. Also, if you feel so inclined, leave us a good review. I can't ask you to leave a bad one. Please don't. In fact, I'd ask you to leave either no review or a positive review. But yeah, leave us a review on whichever podcast app you're listening to us on.
We can't
Recommend us
tell
to
you
your
what
friends.
to do.
Seriously, send us an email. Do it. We'll definitely read it on the podcast.
Well, I mean, not word, but
I can't say
mention
definitely,
it. We can
but
mention it. Yeah,
we'll definitely mention it. Yeah. If you say nice things, we'll definitely read it on the podcast. If you're saying nice things, they'll definitely be read. If you're saying abusive things, we'll mention it, but we might not. Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
Honestly, I might be more inclined to read abusive things. That'll just be funny.
Yeah, it would be a lot of fun, actually. So if you hate what we do, and you have some strong words to use, send us an email at Lord of the Wrongs Podcast at gmail.com.
I'm not gonna. If it seems like there's positive vibes in the subject line, I'm deleting it without reading it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Well, no, be nice.
Yeah.
All right. So I already gave you your fun fact for the day.
We already got a fun fact. So now I don't know how to end it, though.
Yeah, I mean, Tolkien also. Fun fact part 2. He also, he threw out his neck a few years before he passed from headbanging.
He's headbanging too hard, yeah.
Yeah, poor guy. Yeah, you got to be careful out there.
I mean,
in the pit.
Yeah, it's honestly, I know it's not super cool, but warming up before doing a proper headbang it's very important to prevent whiplash. So, yeah. This has been a PSA from the Lord of the Wrongs podcast. Do some stretching and warming up before jumping into that pit, everybody.
Yeah. All right. So in this one, it's let's say Namadie, but I do want to end with Namadie.
Namadie.
Mosh safely, friends.